Hi, hello. I am Esther Penunia. I am from the Philippines. I work as Secretary General of the Asian Farmers Association for Sustainable Rural Development, or AFA. We are a regional organization of farmers with 24 family farming organizations at the national level in 16 countries in Asia. And I also have a farm that we develop as an agroecological farm together with my husband. Well, agroecology is a system, it's a movement, and it's a science. And when we talk about a movement is composed of people who are passionate and who are experienced and who do things uh, according to what the movement desires. And agroecology is like that. Agroecology is done by farmers, so that their techniques and their systems and their practices are being innovated by farmers who are really practicing in their farms, in their fisheries, in their forests, and in their pasture lands. And many of the farmers who are practicing agroecology right now are are needing support. No? They are somehow neglected by government services and programs and financing. And so they need support. And the support can come if they are stronger together. And that means they have to organize themselves, no, at possibly at all levels, from local to national to regional to global. They have to organize. We have to organize ourselves as farmers organizations, because when we are united, we are stronger together. We can exert power and influence over others, especially decision makers, to enact policies that will be favorable to us, as well as to consider us, our voice, and our experience in the many programs that they can implement for agroecology. Well, first of all, we are here in the AETPP 2025 Annual Assembly to really encourage all members of AETPP to really put co-creation and participatory action research with farmers organizations as a mainstream approach, as the approach they use in all the projects that they are implementing, from design to implementation to monitoring and evaluation. We are encouraging everyone who are designing and implementing projects to do co-creation approaches, participatory action approaches with farmers organizations, not just individual farmers, but farmers organizations, because we know that when researchers, formal researchers, and scientists and farmers organizations work, we can achieve something at scale. Science and research and innovation will be differently done. I think in principle, we are in the community of practice because we're really doing it. And AFA, as a regional organization, is a member of AETPP. Okay, but when we look at the details of being a member of the community of practice, like saying you attend virtual meetings, for example, every now and then the virtual meetings have to consider the time zone difference of others, like in America. So it becomes a problem because first, our members, farmers especially, do not speak English, okay? Do not speak Spanish, any of the international languages, because in Asia, one country, one language. And then the second is so we have the language barrier for the farmers, and then the second, we have the time zone difference for farmers. So most of the virtual meetings, global virtual meetings that I attend are in the evening, my evenings in Philippines, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and most of the time, the farmers are already on their bed, so it's nighttime for them. And the third is, of course, the farmers are in the rural areas, and some of them will be in remote areas, or rural areas don't have as good internet connectivity as in the cities. So it's that there can be also an internet challenge for them. course, we can work together. We can work together in translating the relevant documents for the farmers. So the farmers organizations will have secretariat who can do translation work. The research institutions can also have people who can do translation work. So we could just look into who can do what and what is the budget, for that. So that is one. But for the internet connectivity, I think we could, if we have budget, we could, for example, in AFA, what we do is, if we have budget, we ask them to go to the city or the nearest city where there is internet and take the meeting from there. But of course, we have to provide some budget also for them. Or what we do is, we provide guidelines for the staff of the farmers organizations, what to ask, and then they will do the collection of the data, and then uh, they will upload the data to us, in English, so we understand what they have discussed about. We have conducted many consultations with young farmers or the youth in the rural areas, and they just said, we will go into farming and we will go into sustainable farming if we have two things. No? First is, we find meaning in that kind of work, and second, we can see that it can provide decent incomes for me, not only for me, but also for my family or future family. And so we have to show that agroecology is something that can provide meaning in their lives. You say, you are not only producing, but you are also preserving and protecting the environment. You are providing food security. So you are promoting biodiversity, all these good goals, no? That good goals that come from doing agroecology. And then the second, we have to show them that agroecology earns, that you can really have good yields, better yields, that you could have better incomes, and then you can have better health and better solidarity. You can find friends, and you can find movements, and you can find networks and contacts which will add to your well-being as a farmer. And we are a bit successful because, some of our young farmers, they say that, like in Lao, they said, oh, our culture is earning, and we are doing something good for the environment and for the country. So these things, no, can maybe attract the young farmers. We also did one thing in AFA. We conducted the first Asia Young Farmers Camp and Agri-Olympics, where we brought 100 young farmers in, I think, 15 countries, and they played games, they had interactive laboratories, they held interactive discussions, and they really liked it because they felt the sense of solidarity amongst themselves, no, that they are not alone, no, in wanting to do farming and agriculture and facing all these challenges that they have to hurdle. So it's a success, and now we will be having our next Asia Pacific Young Farmers Camp and Agri-Olympics next year in Fiji. I so agree that it has to be communicated, and in fact, they can see in their neighbors who are practicing agroecology, because we have in situ agroecological farms. But I think we need to convince more the policymakers and the funders, because many of the challenges of continuing to do agroecology is because of the policy constraints or because of the financial constraints. You see, for example, in the Philippines, an agroecology farmer who doesn't want to use chemical fertilizers and who wants to use local seeds. But here comes a policy of the government. I will give money to farmers who will use hybrid seeds and who will use chemical fertilizers. So what do I do as a farmer? If I don't have money, and you think of a small scale farmer who has very little money, no? So the farmer can be compelled, no, to use these hybrid seeds and to use these chemical fertilizers, because the government will provide grants or subsidies. So that's why we are calling for policies that repurpose subsidies so that farmers can be encouraged to do agroecology more. Now, for scientists, I hope that we could really do co-creation and participatory action researches with farmers' organizations, like a co-design, co-implementation, co-monitoring research process. I think it will be very important. It will unleash the potentials of thousands of farmers in the community and in the country to mainstream agroecology. For the government, we really ask your support in terms of policies and programs and financing so that we can scale up our work on agroecology, invite more farmers, encourage more farmers to do agroecology. For example, reach out to the others in the provinces, in the other towns, and we need money for that. Train farmers and help build in-situ farms and master trainers. We need some money for that. So we hope that the government can provide us that.